I just saw opportunity in things. Came natural.
That is a superpower of yours, seeing opportunity.
Yeah. It's almost like, do you know when you make a decision to buy a car? I want to buy that yellow car. And you see the yellow car everywhere. And it's like, were they always there? No. They just magically appeared from nowhere. No, they were always there.
Yeah.
So I've kind of honed my thinking and my, what they call the RSA, the reticular activating system, to be able to see the opportunities. And whether it's in, a piece of real estate that's below market value, whether it's a partnership that we can actually work with, whether it's a piece of tech that no one knows. I always go with this, like how Peter's got this saying, something great's going to happen today, something amazing is going to happen. My phrase is, what do I know to be true that other people don't yet?
When I set a vision in my life and I look at my faith, my family, my business, my health, my wealth, I want other people in these real stories to hear the real stories of that journey.
I have everything that I've wanted, like in terms of family life, beautiful wife, making good money, and like my world's upside down right now in my head.
God is so good. He shows us his hands. Like people think miracles are like someone being instantly healed. It's so much more than that. They can be the smallest things where he shows his goodness in your life.
If you think of something and you believe it and you see it in your mind, it's meant for you. Go chase it.
See you in the next episode of Real Stories. Welcome to another episode of Real Stories with me, Jamie Lee Bongard. Our guest today has lived many lives in one: animator, real estate investor, global keynote speaker, AI strategist, and mentor to some of the biggest names in business and sport. John Lee's journey from scrubbing walks in his parents' shop to teaching thousands how to embrace technology, build wealth, and unlock their unique abilities is nothing short of remarkable. He's here to share lessons on resilience, destiny, and the choices that can completely shift your future. Please join me in welcoming our very special guest, John Lee.
Thank you for having me.
So, John, you're obviously known as a worldwide AI leader. You're great with social media. You're a mentor to some of the biggest names right now, and both in business and sports, which I recognized earlier today. And for those of you who might not know the depth of your work and what you're focused on, can you give our listeners a peek behind the curtain?
Yeah, I mean, the work is really about, so when we think about what we do, we actually have to think about really what business we're in. So for example, when I did the keynote today, it was actually you're in real estate, but you're not. You are in media, because that's what I like with McDonald's as well. You're not in burgers, you're in toys, not even real estate. One of the biggest toy manufacturers in the world. When your kids are going to McDonald's, what do they want? Happy Meal, right? So for me, it's really understanding at a very deep level, what is it that makes and creates success? And there is actually a formula to it. It's not just like random. I mean, luck leaves clues, right? As they say, right? And when you're lucky, it means you're hardworking. So have you noticed the harder you work, the luckier you become? That's why I say luck, not success. Luck leaves clues. And so I've dedicated my life in trying to figure out what is that inflection point? What is that one thing that you do that most people don't even pay attention to? But every time I do this, it works. Every time I do this, it doesn't work. And so I've been fascinated because I've been going to a lot of like self-development events. And I was like, how can two people get the same information? One person becomes a millionaire, the other one stays broke, but yet same information, same location, same time. And so that's really what my work is all about, whether it's AI, whether it's investing, whether it's, like real estate, whether it's, online and social media. It's like, I'm a very curious, but I want to know, like, not just what we're doing, but how does it work? And I want to get into the mechanics of how that works.
Interesting. So luck leaves clues.
Yeah, not the success.
Yes.
People say success leaves clues.
Yeah.
Luck leaves clues.
And then you mentioned there's a formula to it. And that's what you love to zoom in on, identify.
Yeah. And also as well, if you think about it, a lot of people set themselves up to fail. I'll give you an example. If you're an introvert, right, but you go on to do like real estate, right, or you do sales, right, that may not be their natural pull.
Yeah.
They'll do it. And some people are very good at it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've known people who are super introverts, very good at it, but it's not their natural forte.
Yeah, like unique ability.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you do something and you flow, right? And you kind of like get into it and you understand, actually, what is my superpower? What is my zone of genius? What is my ikigai? I mean, you've heard all these phrases before, but actually, what is it that you can pinpoint that you do that always produces success? That for me has been a lifelong journey of discovery.
Okay, I want to dive into the real story of you and how you came to recognize that as something that you're passionate about. If you can just share right now, what is it that you are focused on in building?
Right now, it's building the KPMG of AI consulting. Why? Because I know that a lot of people know AI, but they don't know how to implement AI. Like, for example, when I did the keynote this morning, how many people are using ChatGPT? Everyone's hands goes up. How many of you using ChatGPT to write, read, and send back emails automatically? All the hands go down. So there's a difference between using and there's a difference between applying. And so when we look at both of these formats, what is it that differentiates it from becoming a success? And it's knowing real life use application.
Yeah.
That's actually, for me, the most important part. It's like with social media, okay? People are optimizing for likes and followers, but no, they should be optimizing for what I discussed is the end result of what you want that produces a result. That's what we care about. Because ultimately, when you're in business or whatever venture you start, what is it that's actually moving the needle? That, for me, is the most fascinating thing. That when you can discover what it is and you just press that button and poof, you go.
Yeah, it's very true. And I love the luck piece because you also said luck is from hard working, right? Luck comes from working hard at something. So it's like you focus in on what it is you're trying to achieve and then the pathway or the actions you need to take to apply and get there.
Like, you're familiar with the butterfly effect.
Yes.
Right? Butterfly flaps its wings on one side of the world, causes an earthquake in the other side of the world, right? It's cause and effect. So everything that we do is a series of ripples. I give an example. This interview happened through a ripple, right? And how did that ripple happen? So, and again, if you want to go all the way back, like if you pinpoint how many touch points it took for us to be having this conversation now. So one of my ex-employees was based in Toronto. I had a good friend of mine who was in Dubai. I met a guy called Vishen Lakhiani. In Vishen Lakhiani had an event in Dubai called Mind Valley Summit. There's like 3,000 people there. I did a keynote there. And from there, I was able to meet a lot of people. I said, John, we love your keynote. You should come to Estonia. I'm like, what's in Estonia? Right? Come to Estonia and then give a keynote. So I did a keynote there. And from there, that's where my employee who lives here met Gio.
Wow.
Right? And from Gio, we then became friends. We had a meeting. I came back to Toronto again because that employee was from Toronto. We just naturally met whilst we were here. We organized dinner. And now that's when I came back to Austin. That's where I met you. Now we're flying back here again. You see how many touch points, how many ripples have had to happen for this conversation to happen.
Yeah.
So when I can pinpoint things, one of the things I know is that every time I speak, great things happen. I meet incredible people. I get to be inspired by, especially the work that you've done and what you're doing in real estate as well. You know, that is these little ripples that happen, and so much so that, you know, yesterday I was going to make keynote. I was like, okay, let's build an app. Well, wouldn't it be great if we could pinpoint all the ripples that produces specific results? Because people don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
Like they do things, but they go, oh, I just did that and it didn't work. Or I did that and that didn't work. Or I did that and that's something that contributed to that thing, but they can't quite put the finger on it. Why is it? It's like the golfer who is a lawyer, but he plays golf. And when he plays golf, he gets more clients. Plays golf, gets more clients. Stops playing golf, doesn't get any clients. And he hasn't made the connection.
Yeah, he doesn't know why he has so many clients, but it's his ability to socialize, and that's his unique ability and comfort, and people like him, so they transact with him.
You got it.
I love that.
Yeah.
And it's again, the luck formula, but it does take action.
Of course. Not just action, but it's intention as well.
Yes.
We have to put an intention out there. I'll give an example. So I just got published by Hay House and Penguin, right? So that was a major book deal. But it happened from an intention. So again, what's a ripple? This person said, "Oh, you need to go to Cartagena in Colombia." I'm like, "What do I want to do there? Like, it's miles away, the UK, right?" And I'm not even speaking there. So why would I even fly there? Like, I'm not even speaking.
Yeah.
Right? And I got to pay my own way. So all these things came down to intuitively, I'm like, I don't want to go. Like in my mind, I don't want to go. But my heart said something was pulling me to go there. So then I set the intention. What intention? I've always wanted to get a book deal. What happens? I meet someone there who got published by this publisher who made an introduction. And that's how I got the book deal. Had I not gone, I wouldn't have the book deal.
Wow. Yeah, it's incredible. The ripple effect, also following your heart and sometimes ignoring your head. We had that conversation, and there's so many instances where things come up and your mind is like, no, don't do that. And your heart is like, no, there's a reason for this.
Yeah, and it's almost like it's like a test. It's like,
Yeah.
how bad do you want it? And it makes it really hard for you. Right? And people say, well, what, John, why would you fly halfway around the world to have a meeting? Because I know in that one meeting, something great's going to happen. And I think you have to go with I had a friend, his name's Peter Kell. He's an incredible entrepreneur, multi-million-dollar company, AI company. And then he's got a tattoo on his arm. You know what it says? Something amazing is going to happen. So he just believes it's tattooed on his arm. That's a cool tattoo.
Yeah.
Because it's setting intention every day. And when you set and you go in with intention, great things happen.
What you tell yourself and what you tell your mind does happen. It's like casting a vision or the mindset piece that Adele spoke about this morning. It's very important. So I want to dive back into little John Lee, if you're okay with that.
Of course.
Where did you grow up, and how did the early childhood life impact who you are today?
So I grew up in the north of England. And my parents were from Hong Kong. They emigrated to the UK. And of course, most Chinese people, they have what we call, a Chinese takeaway. So me, being, the eldest son, and my brother, we worked in the Chinese takeaway, and we would chop mushrooms. I would have to wash. I was a dishwasher, or wok washer. So I did that, all the way up to I was, at college, right? So as I was at school, I always had these ideas. My parents own these like shops, so they have like cans of Coke and things like that. So I would load up my bag and I would go to school and I'd sell them.
You're an
So I was
entrepreneur.
making some money.
Yeah.
Right. And I always tell the story that, my mum used to give me £3 a day. So that was my, lunch. So I'd keep one, put one aside. So I'd put two aside, take £1 to school. And then my friend at the time, his name's Ben Stobbs. Still remember this. I always used to sit next to him in science class and smell this like garlic sausage. I'm like, what is that smell? And it's like, oh, my mum keeps making me garlic sausage and it's disgusting. I hate it. I was like, and I smelled it. I was like, actually, it smells, but he said, do you want it? So every day I would go and buy his sandwiches off him for 50 pence. Then the other 50 pence, I'd go and buy a drink, a packet of crisps and some sweets. And that was me saving money. I was like, okay, my mum will give me 3. I just spend 1 and I'll save the 2.
Oh my gosh.
Right. And then what I would do is I would save up some money. And then all my friends I don't know if you remember, in the early days, we had this thing called a Super Nintendo.
Yes.
You remember them?
I loved
the little
it.
box things.
The little gray box.
Yeah. And then we had a Sega, that one. So those were the 2 consoles. And my friends would buy all these games and then they would finish the games. And once they finished it, they don't want to do anything. So I said, look, if you finish the game, I'll buy it from you. So I would just keep trading games and buying games. So I had my own little tuck shop at school, my little business at school.
Wow.
Probably
So
legal, but yeah.
an entrepreneur right from the get-go.
Yeah.
So how old were you? Like, was this grade school?
This was high school.
Okay.
High school, when in between the ages of like 11 to 15. Yeah.
So it's like you were born with this unique.
I don't know if I was born with it. I don't know. It's obvious to me. I saw opportunity, right? So there was another thing. My best friend David, he had the Super Nintendo because I had one and he had one. And I was like, oh, I don't want to. I finished all my games. I don't want to play it anymore. So I'm like, how much do you want to sell it for? So yeah, I want to sell it for £40. I remember this. So I got my £40 and I paid him for it. But why do I want another Super Nintendo? I already got one. So I took that and I walked 2.5 miles to this. We had in the old days we used to have these shops called a swap shop.
Okay, yeah.
Do you remember them?
Wasn't called that
Yeah.
here, but yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
swap shop. Basically, if I want to, I can take my phone and swap you for a bottle of water, right? Or I can swap it for cash, right? So I bought it for 40 and then I sold it for 55. So I made like £15 on that.
Oh gosh.
You know, so
that's-
so I
yeah.
can see, I don't know. I just saw opportunity in things.
So that,
It just came natural.
that is a superpower of yours, seeing opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's almost like, do you know when you make a decision to buy a car? I want to buy that yellow car. And you see the yellow car everywhere. And it's like, were they always there? No. They just magically appeared from nowhere. No, they were always there.
Yeah.
So I've kind of honed my thinking and my, what they call the RSA, the reticular activating system, to be able to see the opportunities. And whether it's in, you know, a piece of real estate that's below market value,
Yeah.
whether it's a partnership that we can actually work with, whether it's a piece of tech that no one knows. You know, I always go with this, like how Peter's got this saying, something great's going to happen today, something amazing is going to happen. My phrase is, what do I know to be true that other people don't yet? And I always come from that. And I always see, like, I was in AI like years before ChatGPT got big.
Yeah. That's fascinating. I have a story like that. So after meeting my husband in Beijing, I decided to go backpack through Europe. And then he'd come to visit me in all these different spots. And because I knew of real estate, my parents grew up, I grew up with my parents in real estate. And I was traveling through Europe going like, why am I going to pay this for a hotel when I can call the local real estate agency and see if they have any vacant apartments I can rent for a week?
Right.
So I was like, I invented Airbnb before it became an app. But it's what you said, you've got to be wise to then apply and actually take action on the opportunity that you see, right?
I have another story as well. So we created Uber before Uber was even big, right? And let me tell you. So people would call up the Chinese takeaway and they would say, we want a sweet and sour chicken and chicken fried rice and a beef curry, right? And prawn crackers. Okay, but I'm not going to pick it up. So you're ordering food, you're not going to pick it up. No, just send it to my house. How? So we would drive, you know, I would have to, you know, again, and drive these meals to, you know, this was further on after I got my driving license, of course.
Yeah.
Right. not when I was
Legally driving around.
not when I was like 14. So, and then what we did is we did a joint venture with a taxi company, because what we had is opposite would be a taxi firm. So the taxi firm would give us one of the radios and we'd put them in our shop. And so every time we have a meal, we'd radio and say, okay, order 562 is ready. They would come into the shop, pick up the Chinese takeaway and drop it off. We created Uber Eats back then,
Yeah.
right? And when you think about the real use application, I'll give you another one. So I used to work with this company called Touch Communication. And what we'd have to do is sell domain names. I would literally call people up and say, I have the perfect domain for you. It's called realestate.com. Do you want it? No, I'm not sure people are going to do this. I had access lawyers.com, market.com, sales. I had all the best URLs and domains at my fingertips. When I was telling people to buy it, I should have been the one buying it.
Yeah.
Hindsight, right?
Yes, it is. And you learn from those things along the way.
Yes.
So you grew up in the UK. You learned obviously a lot watching your parents work hard.
Yes.
When did they move over?
I mean,
How old were you, or you were born in the UK?
No, I was born in the UK.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. You said that.
Yeah.
And they had this shop. You learned the habits and obviously worked hard and then saw opportunities and ran with them.
But actually, it was through a lot of pain because every weekend I'd have to work in my Chinese takeaway. So when all my friends are going partying, so I felt a lot of resentment. Like, oh God, like there's, and then that's where this idea came. I'll never forget this, Jamie Lee. I was washing this wok with curry in it, and it was just going everywhere, and it was splashing everywhere. Like I was really, and then, but because they had these like reflective mirrors, I would just like wiping. I remember wiping it and just looking at myself in the mirror and go, "There's got to be more than this." Like I don't know if you felt this, that you were born for more.
Yeah.
You were born for more. You were meant to be something more.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's like you feel it from your heart,
Yeah.
and you are to internalize that and allow yourself to fall into what your purpose is and intentionally go after that.
Yeah.
It's like a calling. It's a destiny.
It's a destiny. Exactly.
And
So-
you know it's there. It's just you're walking on the path and you're wiping off the walk going like, this isn't the version of myself I'm supposed to be.
You know, at that point, it's really weird because it's almost like, I don't know if you're into quantum, things like that.
We talked about it.
Yeah,
It's very
right.
fascinating.
Right. So at that point, I felt a quantum jump at that point. Because at that point, I could have said to myself, I'll just keep doing this. And then I'll take over mum's shop. Or it's almost like I was wiping away the past for the future. And that at that point, I don't know how, I don't know why, but I knew it was going to happen. You just knew it, like it's in every cell of your body.
Nothing will stop it.
No.
And so with that in mind, what are your thoughts around the fact that we each have a destiny or purpose?
So I believe that everything is going in one direction, but we can change the direction. We can change the destination of where we want to go based on the decision. So imagine there's parallel universes all going in a direction, right? The fact that, okay, we make a decision to come here, do a podcast, right? And then do a keynote. Then I know great things will happen from that because frequency, right?
Yes.
And it starts from the top down. And if I know if they're coming from your community, they're going to be great. And the energy was great today. They were paying attention and I could see that, but I could feel an energy in there that they really actually wanted to learn.
Yes.
And that for me is gold dust. Right? The worst thing is teaching people that they don't want to learn. So,
They're forced to be there.
yes.
Yeah.
But they wanted to be there. And I could really feel it.
And that's where that choice part in changing, I mean, what you spoke about today and AI and social media for realtors will impact their destiny. Because if they plug in, learn, apply, and have the luck, which is the luck formula, their businesses will grow.
Yeah.
They will take market share.
It's fascinating. I'll have people who go, I'm not sure if this is going to work. And then they don't do it. And then eventually, after me banging on with them, like every single month, every single time they see my videos, they go, okay, John, we're going to do it. And as soon as they did it, bang, whole thing changes. Frequency shifts, vibrations shift, destiny shifts.
No, that is the truth, is you can change that direction by making different choices.
Right.
So the overnight success that some people might look at you and think, well, that happened like this for him. There's obviously years of unseen struggles. So you explained cleaning off the walk and knowing in your heart that things were going to change and you were going to figure out that opportunity to make it change. Was there any other low point on your journey where you had to completely rebuild?
Of course. Many times.
Want to share a couple stories?
Many times. I mean, it comes from, first of all, ignorance, right? Not having the right counsel, picking the wrong business partners a few times, right? It's almost like I keep having the same thing repeating. And so it's kind of like, okay, is that their fault or is it a reflection of me or is it something going inside? And I think, most people don't understand why they do and the reasons why they do it. And the moment you understand your calling, right? Not what you were supposed to do, what you were born to do. I think when we understand and it's very subtle. It's like when you're scared, but you're excited, it's very subtle, right? When you are doing something, but you love to do it, but you are forced to do it, it's very subtle. And so when I look at how things pan out, everything happens for a reason, right? For example, that business partnership didn't work out because it was holding me back, right? Or I had to get that lawsuit there in order to learn for the big one that that comes in the future, right? So now how I do things is very different. For example, now best investment you can make, by the way, in-house lawyer. The best investment you can make, in-house lawyer, in-house counsel.
Mentioning that to me.
Yeah, that is, and also if you have like business partners, normally the company only has like one legal counsel. But actually, each director should have legal counsel.
Yes, you need separate legal
Yeah,
counsel.
because that's really important. Because then it's for the best interests. And so, but in ambiguity comes confusion, comes frustration, comes miscommunication. And that's where things fall apart.
And it sounds like you've learned that
I
lesson.
Too many times.
But now you can offer wisdom to other people. Like in one quick conversation, people watching this go, oh, wow, why do like me and all the directors of this company all have the same legal counsel? I need to make that change. So it's...
There will come a day. There will come a day, right? When things just, for whatever reason, like it's kind of like the old adage, everyone's happy when everyone's making money.
Yes.
Right? Everyone's happy. But when things go the opposite way, that's when problems happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that tip. Before AI, before global keynotes, what were those? Well, we already talked about the first initial entrepreneurial sparks when you were in high school, but there were other businesses that you were involved in. And I know you've done well with real estate investing. Do you want to share a little bit real estate specific and what you've learned?
Yeah. So my first mentor was a guy called Ranjan Bhattacharya. And I'll never forget this. You must have read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah.
And
Love
I
that
think everyone in real estate has read that book.
I think so.
Right.
And if you haven't, read it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And it talks about, passive income, right? What is passive income? How is that even possible? Why don't they teach us that at school? And then assets and liabilities. That's when I really start to understand you can make a lot of money, but if you don't keep it, then you don't make any. Right. And so when I understood those specific concepts, my first mentor, Ranjan Bhattacharya, from learning that stuff, I would then go on seminars. I remember saying to my uncle Chi, and it's like, hey, I want to go on the seminar, but I don't have the money. Can you lend me the money? He said, sure. What's it about? It's about, I'll become a property millionaire. And it's like, John, that sounds like a scam. I said, no, trust me. Like this guy's made a lot of money and he's going to teach me how to do it. And do you know how I got the money?
How?
I said to Uncle Chi, I tell you what, if you don't believe me, let me learn the stuff. You're super busy. I'm going to teach you how to do this. And the first 2 deals I buy, I will give you 50%.
Wow.
That's the worst negotiation I've ever done.
I was going to say,
Right?
that does not.
Yeah, after the first couple of deals, hey, you got more? You got more?
You want it in.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? So I started learning it and I started applying it. And then from there, I met another mentor. His name was Ying Tan, right? And this is when I realized that mentorship is so important because when you think about why should I reinvent the wheel when somebody else has already done it? And I can actually, like when someone had, like he charged me £10,000 for 2 days. And I say to most people, by the way, I didn't have the money either. So I sold my car and I paid him £10,000 for 2 days of his time. All my friends said, you're being scammed. That's crazy. You're getting ripped off. Why would anyone pay that? Because I understood the power of intellectual property. I understand the difference between formal education and self-education. I understood the difference between knowledge and wisdom, between normal knowledge and specialized knowledge. Because when I thought about it, all these people who are rich, they know things that we don't.
Yeah.
They must be doing something differently. Otherwise, we'd all be rich. And so that's why even till today, I still have mentors, teachers, and coaches. I like to adopt I'm Chinese, right? So I like to adopt the Bruce Lee art of Jeet Kune Do. And so what he does is he says, I'm going to go to learn karate. I'm going to learn judo. I'm going to learn cage fighting. And so he learns all from all these masters. And then he takes the best from every master and creates his own.
Ah, that's wise.
That is wise. So now I do the art of Jeet Kune Do for business.
Okay. And what would you recommend? So I agree with you. I've taken big risks too in terms of learning from others who have gone before. And the goal is understand the luck formula, the success formula, and how they applied it, right? Because it's 2 parts. So what would you recommend to someone totally freaked out about spending the money on the right coach? And how do you identify who's a mentor? How do you look at that person and go, yes, that's the mentor I need for my health and fitness? Or
so here's the thing. You got to kiss a lot of frogs to find your prince or princess. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I spent money on things. It didn't quite work out, but that's on me, right?
Yeah.
I should have done my due diligence. I should have, made sure that this person knows what they're talking about. But, if you just learn one thing from that, I'll give an example. One of my business partners early on, and I lost about 4.2 million pounds in my first venture in real estate through this person.
Wow.
Literally just took the entire portfolio. But do you know, he gave me the biggest skill set on the planet. He taught me public speaking.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
He taught me public speaking. That's how I got into it.
How did you learn? He was your coach or?
No, he's my business partner.
Okay.
So I was working as an animator and I needed an investor, right? And the investor will then come into the properties. So I had the skill set, I had the time, and I had the know-how. And then this person would just fund me, right? And then we created a partnership together, right? And then as we start doing this partnership, what happens? Because he was too busy doing keynotes, right? And so I remember there was one time where I was forced, not really forced, but he said, why don't you come along with me? And I just saw him speak. I saw him command a room. I saw him, the way he was able to articulate and tell stories. And I learned something from that. Right? And I just sat there and I observed. And I asked him, like, how do you learn this stuff? And I'll never forget this. He gave me this book called Psycho-Cybernetics. Right? I don't know if you read that book. That's one of the most powerful books.
Psycho-Cybernetics?
Yeah, one of the most powerful books on for brain.
Okay.
So are you familiar with NLP?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, so neuro-linguistic programming.
Yeah.
So how you say words impact feeling. Right? So that's and even though I lost that entire portfolio worth of millions of real estate, he gave me the biggest gift, which is the power to influence, the power to speak, the power of voice.
Yeah.
And that's what got me started on my journey. It was my first inspiration to speak. So this is where we look at duality, right? This is the yin yang, right? Well, from the good and the bad. In Chinese, we call this wei ji, which is in every crisis is an opportunity, right? There's danger, but there's also opportunity. And this is what we have to see. And I guess I've been through a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. And that's the walk in life. And it's good that you can walk away from it and go, well, I lost 4.2 million pounds, but I gained one of my greatest gifts that's taken me on the journey that I need to be on.
Yeah. And the funny thing about that is when that happened, I remember calling my mum and just saying, I think I've lost everything. And she said to me, yeah, just come out, I'll make you some food. It's like what parents do. I remember moving in back with my parents in like a little shoebox room. Literally, you would open the door and the door would hit the bed because it was a sofa bed. So I had to keep folding in and folding out of this little desk in the corner. I was like, I wonder if I can do it again. And do you know what happened? Within that 12 months of me doing it, I made back millions in real estate.
Wow. And so good lesson. And
because the skill set, isn't it?
yeah,
Like, I was like, hold on a second. I'm the one that found the deals. I'm the one that negotiated it. And I still have all my contacts for all the people that can bridge all my deals. I just do it myself. Right? And then I hired my my cousin as my PA, Sam, her name was. That was interesting because it's so funny. Like, here's the pitch. Right? I said, hey, Sam, you want to be my PA? And she said, yeah, sounds really good. How much are you going to pay me? I can't pay you anything. I said, I can't afford to pay. I just lost those. And she said, here's my cousin. And she's like, okay. But she said, I'll come work for you on one condition. You help me buy my first property. Because I'm in real estate, right? I said, okay, that's a deal. So, for 6 months, I didn't really help her get a deal. I was just helping with a lot of my stuff. And then property lead, we'd have a website. People go to the website, they put in the first name, last name, email address, telephone number, street address. And then every time they click submit, she would get an email. She said, oh my God, one's come over in this area. We should go and have a look at it. Right? And so we'd look at one in this area. But as we were walking around, we saw another one with a for sale sign. And he said, cuz I like that one. I'm like, that one there? Yeah, that's a really big house. Right? Like you're renting right now in a small one. You want that 5-bedroom detached? Yeah. I said, you sure? Yeah. So, it's what I did. We walked to the door and knocked on the door and said, my name is John Lee. I'm from Complete 28 Days. And I see you have a for sale sign outside. We're interested in buying your property. They invited us in. And I kid you not, that property, but it was on the market for about 230, 240. We bought it for about 180.
Wow.
So she got a good deal on that. Now she works as a nurse, but she's a property millionaire,
Yeah.
right? So she learned the strategy on how you buy property. It appreciates, refinance, buy another one, get the debt paid down, buy another one, get debt paid down by renting it. And she's a property millionaire now, but she's a nurse.
That's a
Right.
beautiful story.
Yeah.
How did you get into real estate investing other than reading the Rich Dad Poor Dad book? What triggered you to get started in real estate investing?
Because do you remember a book called, I don't know if you read this book called Real Estate Riches?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
Dov
have.
Theroux.
Yes.
Yes. So I read that book, and at the time I was listening to Tony Robbins' podcasts, right? It's like, jumping, like motivating. And there was one phrase that Dov Theroux said in his podcast. And he said, this guy's a PhD, right? He tried to get a job, couldn't get a job. And on the same day he got a job offer for $35,000, that same day he'd sold a piece of real estate and made back $35,000. And that like sparked this idea. I'm like, what? Wait, hold on a second. You can make your whole year because I was on £36,000 a year, right? That's how much money I was making. I was like, wait a minute. You can buy and sell one property and make your entire year's salary up front. That sounds good. And that's what started the journey of me going online, learn to invest in property, buy property, get rich from property, right? That's what kind of gave me the direction. And I always knew that a lot of my friends, when I was a kid, they were buying up all these properties. Why do you keep buying properties? And they kept driving around in BMWs and brand new cars. Like, how can you afford that? Now I know. Real estate, right? So it pays you cash flow.
Yeah.
People rent it, pays down the debt, and then it appreciates and you refinance and buy another one, do the same again.
Yeah.
It's like, it's such an easy formula for getting wealthy.
It really is. And it's something that people with kids still living in their basement in a mortgage-free home and they want to leave a legacy. We're doing a course this month actually on how to teach homeowners how to refinance, which they don't even think about. They just don't think that they can refinance and purchase an investment property or a second property, get the kid out of the basement.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be great if everyone had kids like you and figured it out and found their own solutions, but it really is incredible. And I believe the statistic, and this might not be perfect, but 90% of the wealthiest people in the world built their wealth through real estate.
And now you have digital real estate now that's happening. And it's interesting because I've got one of my clients and now business partner, Neil, and you know what he does? He just rents his properties out. He makes over $100,000 a year just renting rooms, he's become a super host. So what he does is he says, hey, come to my house. And, he has starts conversation with them and he's got a robust system on how this stuff works, right? So for example, he said, how do you know like people use a shampoo? He said, oh, John, that's easy. When they go into the bathroom, they've got, and he's got all these different rooms. He names all these different rooms. Like this is the library room. This is the sky room. This is the, garden room. And he names it. And if it's garden room, that's where you put your shampoo, right? and your fridge, you've got one fridge for him. And in the fridge, this is your fridge. This is your shelf. If you're staying in this room. So he makes multiple six figures, right? From the time he told me that the amount of money he paid for the property from Airbnb in the house is worth 1.5 times more what he's made than the house that he paid for.
That's incredible. Pays off the debt.
Yeah.
Creates passive income.
Yeah.
And then you have an asset that over time, always like over 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, that always goes up in value significantly.
So people got properties, got empty rooms and, and then I know people are thinking, but I like my privacy, right? So you know what he does? Like he takes properties and then he splits them up and then he puts a wall there, has a separate entrance around the back so he doesn't interrupt his privacy.
Yeah. It's brilliant.
Smart, right?
Yeah. And you even see it now with some of these major hotel chains. They're doing half residential, half hotel. Yeah. And I was talking to you about buying a building in Toronto and doing our real estate commercial space, an event space, and some Airbnbs up top. Like what a brilliant way to build a community and create passive income.
There you go.
In what we're doing anyway.
Yeah.
So it's that solution mindset. Now I just got to take action.
Yeah. Well, it's looking at what's possible and also looking at what people want. Like, for example, when the pandemic happened, no one was going to offices, right? So you look at that whole WeWork model. Well, there's no co-working space now. Doesn't really work. But what if they'd have flipped it the other way around? If they said, you know what, this is not co-working space. This is residential space just happens to have co-working space downstairs. Right? If they'd have flipped it would have been a different story.
Yeah. And that's the little butterfly effect.
That's the
decision.
That's a subtle,
Yeah.
right? Subtle difference.
Yeah, it can impact everything. So can you share a story of impact, maybe a student, an entrepreneur, or a team that you've mentored and you've seen them take off in a certain way? I'd love to hear a story because I know you obviously have a big heart. Like just meeting you, and I can just tell.
Thank you.
And you were kind enough to come and you said, you came up to me on the second day and were like, I really want to help share with your agents. And it was just very sweet of you. And so I know you've impacted other people. And I'd love to hear another story that still gives you goosebumps when you think about it.
So there's two people I can think of right now. One is, in fact, I just got a message from him. So this guy, he walks into one of my keynotes and his wife literally dragged him there. This guy was like in $50,000 worth of debt. And he's like, okay. And he had this juicing company. And he's like, you need to listen to this John Lee guy. And he sits there with his arms crossed, skeptical. You can tell he's not really paying attention. But the more I speak, the more he's got his arms crossed and he uncrossed it and he's got his finger and he's leaning forward and he's like, okay, now you listen, now you're paying attention. And so I remember, and I'll never forget this, like he was just so lost. He's like, I don't know what to do. Tell me what to do. Right? And I say, I promise you, if you do what I tell you to do and you do exactly what I tell you to do, you don't deviate, you don't be cute, you don't be smart, you just do exactly what I tell you to do, your business will turn around. So 8 years on, he just sent me a message, right? In fact, I want to read the message to you because it's just such a powerful message. And when I got it, I almost cried. I almost cried. And I said this to my team. So, there's internet here. There's no internet here. Oh, here we go. So he says, so he sent me this picture, right? That's at the Singapore Stock Exchange. And he said, brother, we'll send you an invite in 3 months in advance because I would love to have you ringing the bell with us at SGX for our IPO. As you've played an important part of this role of the journey for Building Farms Asia. You see, when I get a message like that, this is someone who's completely lost, had no idea what to do, right? Just really lost. And I thought, if you just do this one thing, like, do you know when you look at, it's like when you look at something and you go, that's so wrong, but people can't see it. I feel compelled to like, you need to change this, and this, and then you'll do well.
Yeah.
And so he did. And now he's taken his company public. He actually had someone to buy his company for $72 million. He turned it down.
That's incredible.
His company's worth 100.
Well, that's a goosebump story.
Yeah. And then he said to me, I also, for helping him out, I get pre-IPO allocation. So it's great.
That's
I get to
amazing.
invest in the company before it goes public.
Yeah, I really believe that when you put out good, it is like a magnet back to you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've got lots of examples of that.
Yeah.
Because you operate in that flow of good things are going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm going to be kind and caring towards people. And you have an eye for recognizing when someone just needs a little bit of your help.
Yeah. And I, for example, I was just in Malaysia. One of my ex-employees who I trained many, many years ago, her name's Ashley. She's like, oh, and she keeps sending me messages. She's so thankful. She said, John, do you know all those skills you taught me whilst I was in a job back then? Now she's a digital nomad. She travels all around. She was just in Bali. She was in Thailand, in Bangkok. She's in Malaysia and in Cameron Highlands. Like, she's really enjoying life. And then she said, can I meet you? I said, sure. And so we met and she bought me, dinner. And I just thought, what an incredible moment to, this is someone who used to work for me has now created this life that they can live with purpose and fulfillment.
Oh, that's incredible. And she's living in joy.
Yeah.
And it sounds like abundance.
Yeah.
What you were standing on stage and you were saying it's so important to know your why. So do you want to share with this audience what that is for you and what your purpose is?
My why, well, I've quite a few actually. One is obviously my parents. When people ask me, what's your biggest achievement? It's not doing these multi-million-dollar deals, taking companies public. It's actually having the means to be able to retire your parents. So now my parents play golf every day now. Actually, my mom's pretty good at golf. She's like handicap 5. She's pretty good.
That's good.
It's pretty good. She's in the mid-60s,
Wow.
So they play golf every day. They get to travel around the world. And I brought her once here to Toronto, so she loved it. So now we get to travel around the world together. And in those years where we didn't have that connection, you know, now I'm trying to make up all that time. So we have family holidays. Now we're just in Disney for a couple of months last summer with my daughter and my wife as well. And really having these connection time together. You know, it's not about buying stuff now. It's about buying experience.
Yeah.
And it's about buying memories. You know, that for me is so important. So one is, you know, really to take care of your family. Second one is impact. What impact can you make? When we finally get to the end of our lives, we look back and we go, did I do enough? Did I impact enough? Did I change someone's life? One of the reasons why I put a lot of content out there, I don't care really how many people, if more people see it, great, that's amazing. But if I can just have that one person that saw it, I'll tell you another story. There's a guy called Jackie Sharma. In 2020, this guy tried to take his life 3 times.
Oh my gosh.
He was in an accident. Doctor said he would never work again, tried to take his life 3 times.
Wow.
And then one day he picks up this app called Clubhouse. So, and of course, you know, every day I'm on Clubhouse, you know, talking, you know, trying to inspire people because I didn't have anything. I was locked at home, right? So of course I'm going to go on Clubhouse. And you know, this guy, I eventually in 2021, 2022, I do a tour into Melbourne, Australia, and Sydney. And so I finally meet him and he said, John, you changed my life. I said, what do you mean? He said, every day I've been listening to you on Clubhouse and you told me that you believe in yourself, believe in your dreams, just do things anyway. You won't know what's going to happen. And he told me now he'd made like 90,000 in like 3 months.
Oh.
Right? But not only that, and then I went back the year after, he made his first million. And now he's, you know, he's looking much better now. He can walk, right? But this is like, I get stories like this. Like, this is like, how many stories can you have before you leave this world? These are stories, you know what, one day I might write a book about all my clients and whole changed lives and their stories.
Yes.
Just make it about them.
Yeah.
You know, because
you've impacted a lot of people.
yeah, you know, because I have a book coming. As I was saying, I got a book deal with Hay House, right, and Penguin, and the book's called Money Unlocked, right. I should create one called Student Unlocked.
Yes,
and just get all my students and just say these are the stories of people's lives that's changed, and there were so many of that. I had a lady who she had breast cancer, right. She was an artist, a struggling artist. And she said, John, like, I didn't know what to do when I got cancer. Like, I lost my way. And she eventually, you know, started doing a lot of things I started telling her to do. And I just said, just basically do the things that you do and just put it on social media. And then you'll sell more of it. And so now she's filming herself doing drawings. And now she makes like 15 to 20,000 a month, euros per month, selling her paintings just by putting on social media.
Yeah.
Right. And now, of course, she's recovered as well. And it's just amazing to be able to see people's lives changed and to see that you had something to do with that.
I always say the quote, like, love is the way. And with all these stories, it's like your heart was telling you, like, give this person some love right now. And it changed their life.
Yeah.
So I think you should write that second book. It'll be like one of those ones where you flip the page and just take it all in.
Yeah.
And then there'll be more people that want to learn from you.
Let's see.
In a world that's changing so fast, I mean, just today, I'm sure because you've been in AI for a while, you're used to the fast pace. But for someone that's just barely started to use ChatGPT in this fast changing environment, what keeps you grounded? Being
humble, right? Just because someone said to me, I think it was Tony said, it was Luke said this to me in the green room, said, like, how do you handle all your success? And I'm like, I actually don't think I'm successful. I'm still learning. You know, like, we're on this journey. And I think the moment you think you know everything, you actually know nothing, because what happens is you lock off anything that can be put into you in order for you to grow. And I think it's how do you keep grounded is always having that growth mindset. You know, I'm naturally a curious person. Like, how does things, like I said, how do things work? How does that connect? Right. And I will persist. And you know how I learned this? So when I was about 11 years old, my parents bought me a computer, right? My first Mac. And you know, when you go from PC to Mac, you're like, what's this? Like, how come there's no, but like, where is everything? Right? So I struggled that to convert over into my first Mac. Then I had to learn animation from a book, and I'm dyslexic. Right? So when all my friends were going out partying, this was again when I like, you know, they were a little bit older than me, so they would go to these parties and I would get left behind because not old enough to get into the clubs, right? And at that time, you know, could make some fake IDs and things like that. But I would be at home, and I remember Uncle James gave me this book and it said Lightwave 3D. I'm like, what is that? And I remember he showed me this robot that could actually animate, and it looked so cool. I'm like, oh my God, I want to do something like that. So I would sit down and just troubleshoot all this 3D animation stuff. That's how I became an animator. I eventually worked for one of the biggest visual effects. You know, in UK we have these like visual effects houses.
Yeah.
And I worked for one of the top in the world.
Wow.
You know, because I persisted back then, and it's the same mindset I use for what I do now. When I have a problem, I need to solve it. Like yesterday we were coding, and yesterday we had like all these back-to-back meetings and you know, online presentations and things like that we had to do. In between sessions, we were coding, right? It's almost like, have you heard of this concept called hackathon?
No.
We were doing something called vibathons.
Oh my gosh.
So we were just vibing, 3 of us in the room, just like vibing. Like, okay, when I say vibe, like we can vibe into AI and it'll create an app for us. So now you can scratch your own itch. And I just get fascinated when things don't work. Like, how do we make it work?
How do we fix this?
How do we fix it? Right? You know, a lot of people, they spend a lot of time complaining about the problem, but in actual fact, that time could be spent on the solution.
Yes. More people should do that.
Yeah.
What are your core values or things that help guide you in personal life and business?
Growth mindset is probably one of my top values. You know that word that I wrote today, learn, Learn, can take off the L, it spells earn, right? So if you're not learning, you're not earning. Simple as that. So growth is a really big one for me. Freedom is another thing. Like for example, everything I do now, like I need to have like creative, you know, rights over that to be able to do it the way I want to do it. Because, you know, we as entrepreneurs, we're very like, people think we're crazy, right? Until we become rich, then we're a genius, right?
Yeah.
So like a lot of the things that we do sometimes don't always make sense to other people. But eventually they go, that's what she's
what
doing.
You were talking about.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're almost like a little bit behind in knowing that. So for me, it's like you've also got to have the freedom to do the things that you want to do when you want to do it. Actually, what is freedom? Freedom is to be able to say no to things, actually.
Yeah.
Right? Like I had a client that would pay me a lot of money to do something. I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. Right? It's going to cost me money. Right? So it's to be able to fire your clients. Right?
That's freedom.
Right? That's freedom. To be able to pick up your suitcase and just go to an airport and just fly to a location at the drop of a hat. That's freedom. That's to do the things that you want to do. So big value for me is freedom, right? Third value is always treating people like you want to be treated. And this is also not so good because people take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Right? And so, you know, that's why I have a great team around me who kind of like, okay, they're the bad guys, I'm the good guy. So I let them take my HR person. Okay, you need to find someone. Okay, you do it. Right? So like we've got to have that, you know, treat everybody the same because you just never know like who you're speaking to.
Yeah.
Right?
Really.
That's one thing. Second is like you can learn from everybody. You don't just learn from millionaires or billionaires, although I have a lot of billionaire friends, but even like someone who doesn't have anything. Right? But it's funny how someone can have nothing but have everything. I've seen that so much. I was like, wow, you have no stress. Wow, you're just like a free bird. Wow, you can sleep at night. Yeah, you're not like, sometimes you see that and they're just so happy.
Yeah.
And actually, if you think about what we want to do, why we do it, is ultimately at the end of it is to be happy. So for me, like one of the values is like create impact in other people. Leave people with more value than you met them with. You know, this has always served me. You know, I was saying that if the amount of money that's in your bank account is in direct proportion to the amount of people that you've helped. And that's always stuck with me. That's why when the first we had a conversation, I go, oh my God, like your guys would really benefit from this. And of course, today proved true. They really benefit from it.
Yes.
Right? And then some of these guys are going to go, oh my God, because of this, they were able to produce this much and this much and this much. And their life, their trajectory changes.
Totally. And I can see that. And that was just the little seed planted today. And it opened so many people's minds. My phone was blowing up while you were on stage. After, they just ate it up and want more. So thank you for making such an impact, really.
My pleasure.
Beyond AI, real estate investment, entrepreneurship, what is it that you'd say you want to be remembered for in life?
I want to be a role model to my family, my daughter. It's so funny because now, you know, my daughter, she doesn't want to play with Barbies anymore. I mean, she does, right? But she's more interested in now AI, right? I mean, your daughter comes up to you and says, Daddy, can we do some AI? That for me is like, because I remember going to the school and, you know, the parents' evening and you know, any questions? I said, excuse me, what plans do you have of teaching the kids AI? Oh, no, we don't. I'm like, sorry? Oh, no, we don't. And when I looked at her presentation, the presentation was created using AI. I could see it because I know what software and tools they're using. I was going to say it, but I didn't want to put it in my position. I thought, well, if the school's not going to teach my daughter, I will teach her. And I'll teach her by example. So I'll say, sweetheart, do you want to write a song? Yeah. Okay. What song do you want to write about? Oh, I want to write about unicorns. Okay. So let's create a unicorn song. Right now she's into this K-pop Demon Hunter thing now.
Yeah, I know that one.
yeah.
Aww.
So it's just amazing. And then also like, you know, she'll create designs. So she'll draw designs, right? So all the drawings, if you have anyone watching this, if you have kids and they have these drawings, you can put those drawings into an AI and bring them to life and you can turn them into an animation in a cartoon.
Wow.
Yeah. So we do stuff like that. Or she's got designs. She has these crazy ideas like, you know, a cloud face on a bed. And she has these really weird ideas. Or, you know, a princess mermaid on a cloud with a rainbow in the background. Right. So she'll say these things and I will prompt it with her and I'll teach how to prompt. Because now, you know, she's doing coding as well now. So now I'm going to teach her how to vibe code. Because people say, well, why are you teaching your daughter to code if you don't have to code anymore? Because you still need to understand architecture, workflow, and logic. And that's what coding teaches you.
That's exciting.
Right? So then when I tell her to prompt something, okay, honey, what's the logic? What do you want the thing to do first? Well, Daddy, I want her to press a button. She's got this game now that she plays. Like every time we have dinner, we pull these cards and you ask questions, right? What is one thing you've never told somebody else? And so I said, honey, why don't we create an app on that? Right? So every time we're out and, you know, we want to have some playtime, once you've done your homework, we'll open the app, we'll press a button and then a card will show up with a question and it'll read the question out and then you can answer it and I can answer it and everyone around the table can answer it over dinner. Right? So it's a good conversation starter.
So did she do it?
Well, that's what we're coding right now.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's great because then you don't have to bring a box of cards with you everywhere.
Yeah, she's 7 years old.
And she gets to be creative.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I got to start doing some stuff like that with my kids. Is there anything that I haven't touched on, asked you, highlighted that you feel is just such a turning point or critical piece in your story that you could share?
Let me think. There's one thing that for me, I call it the BS, right? What is BS? It's not bullshit. It's your belief system. I believe fundamentally that anyone can be anything if they put their mind to it. And now that sounds very cliche, right? But it's true. Like how many people, and then someone says, does that mean someone who's 5 foot can become a basketball player? There are some basketball players and some of them are the best ones who are not over 6 foot and can still do a 3-pointer, right? So now, of course, do the people who are taller have an advantage? Of course they do. But it all comes down to work ethic. And I think this is one thing I learned from my parents. I saw the work ethic. They would go to work every single day. I would never see them. And then we'd get to a point where that I could see how hard they worked. And when we look at ourselves and how hard we have to work, imagine how hard our parents had to work. It's amazing. I was just with, I just did a tour with Robert Herjavec, who's one of the Shark Tank investors.
Yeah.
So and I was backstage with him. And I said to him, your story about your father was just incredible because his father always wanted to buy this specific car. And one day, you know, even though he could buy him any car in the world, he bought him this specific car because it meant so much to him.
Yeah.
And, you know, he took his father in to sat in the car and he says, his father says, one day. And then Robert turns to him and says, yeah, that's today. Here's the keys. That, like, when I heard that, I was like, oh God, I was crying as, it's so heartfelt that when we become so selfless into things that we do, and it's not about you, it's not about money. People, you know, I'll say this one thing to people: if you focus on money, you won't get it. Okay, you make a little bit. When you focus on impact, when you focus on transformation, you get plenty. And this is one of the biggest things that I realize is kind of one of those things, right? Those little tweak things. Every time you do that, more money comes in. Just automatic because you're not focused on it. Because you focus on solving problems. We as entrepreneurs solve a problem. Like in real estate, the way I was able to get a lot of deals is because I saw what's the biggest pain point in the UK right now for real estate. I don't know how long does it take to transact property from sale to purchase to getting the keys here?
The average is anywhere from 30 to 90 days typically.
All right. In the UK, it's like 6 to 8 months.
Oh, wow.
Right? And there's no contract. People can pull out anytime. It's on a handshake. If I don't want to buy a property last minute, I can gazump you. Right? There's a lot of that stuff. So what I put into my business model was certainty for the seller. Your property's worth $1 million. Okay. I'm going to buy it for 800,000. Oh, that's a big, yeah. I know it's a lot. So try and sell it first. And if you really cannot, I'm your last resort. And do you know how many people would come back to me and sell their property to me 20 to 30% below its market value?
I'm guessing a good number of people
A lot.
back.
A lot. People think that these things don't exist, right? But they do. And people go, John, isn't that like taking advantage? No, because let's say that person bought the property for 200,000 and I'm buying it for 700 or 800,000, right? They're only losing 200, but they're still making here. But they can go on with their lives and do things. So in that space, I wasn't in. The main thing was certainty. So when you understand problem solving and critical thinking, which actually AI is taking away a lot of that critical thinking time, right? And space, we're now going to critical solutioning. It's a new phrase that if we look at the business models and the things that the holes in that, we can click a few buttons, do a few prompts, a few workflows, and it solves the issue. That's where we are right now.
Pretty nice if you can apply it and understand it.
Yeah. But it comes from that level of thinking.
That's,
Of helping people. We want to help more people. The more people we help, the more lives we change, the more money you make.
What a good way to end. Thank you so much, John, for doing this with me today. If people want to follow you, buy your book, can you let them know how to do that and where to find you?
Yeah, I mean, if they go to any social media platform, just type in John Lee, and then you'll see my verified account. Like on YouTube, you go to John Lee Success, you'll see a lot of my videos there, or my main website, johnlee.com. And of course, I'll have my book there, and the new book's called Money Unlocked. So it's how do you make it, how do you keep it, and how do you multiply it? And so there's a lot of these, all those little things I was talking about. We put a lot of those processes in there, like 20 years of experience trying to find out what works and the nuances. And actually, sometimes it's counterintuitive. What you think works doesn't. It's actually the complete opposite. And so it's understanding what those mechanisms are and how it can be applied to your life. And that's what I cover in the book. So yeah, you can go to Amazon as well and check it out. But johnlee.com is probably the best place to get more information.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm for sure going to get your book because you're definitely a mentor of mine in those two areas. Investing is very exciting and definitely a lucrative way to learn, and also your AI and everything. So I know a lot of people are going to get that book, and there's going to be a lot more people that want to learn from all your success clues in the many different arenas that you've become successful in. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.